Look, I've always thought of Derek Chisora as like the gatekeeper, if you like, into the top echelons of heavyweight boxing. You know, if you beat him, then you've earned your dues. Tell me, would you agree with me on that?
No, that's actually super accurate, really, and I think that's probably said in a very complimentary way, not even in the gatekeeper sense of well, you got an easy pass here, you get through him, and you're no, this is serious. You're going. His nickname is War, and there's a reason for that. And if you're going on to the next level, you better pass that test. Usyk had to pass that test, and in fairness, I would probably say that physically, the Chisora fight for Usyk was probably the most draining than any of the four fights with either AJ or Fury. So I'm not sure that you'd be wrong about that. That he definitely is the gatekeeper, and if you're for real, you've got to get through him. And if you're a pretender, he's going to expose everything about you. You better be prepared to have all the tools necessary, not only in the skill department, but in the heart department as well.
What do you make of Wilder's apparent lack of form against Parker and Zhang? I mean, you're an expert. Does your intuition tell you it's a form issue, or perhaps it's just time to retire?
Look, the one thing I know that is not an issue is that he still possesses that debilitating power, maybe the single most devastating right hand in boxing history. Maybe. I mean, I might not be too far off in saying that. As great as a puncher Foreman was, or this debilitating one-punch power that Wilder possessed, and his record shows for this, I think speaks of this. I think he has that. What do I make of the two fights against Parker and Zhang? Look, I think it's probably a combination of many things. I think there's a certain, lack of confidence that happened, unsureness of himself. Parker, had a style that was going to be problematic for Wilder at all times because he's difficult to hit. He's a good fighter, good technique, good skill set, has been in with the best in the world, has been around for a long time. He understands what it is to be at that stage, able to handle it. And Zhang had the size going for him. And if Wilder wasn't going to be able to hit him, that was going to be problematic. And I think one thing that has shown was that if Wilder doesn't get you out of there, he is susceptible to losing rounds. He is susceptible to being behind on cards until he hits you. So, and he didn't hit Zhang and he didn't hit Parker, and that's why they won the fight. What is that going to do for him going into the next fight? Only time will tell. But, the body starts to remember things, and reaction times seem to change because you've been in those positions, and the body tends to protect itself, even though you don't want it to, and you start to fight on emotion and whatnot. The reaction time, the reflex time sometimes just isn't quite the same.
What are your thoughts on Wilder's clear frustration and anger towards Fury? I mean, he's recently made sort of explicit claims that he was cheated in the trilogy of fights he had with Fury, and he says he's got the evidence.
Look, there's been some stuff. I mean, it's so difficult to tell the veracity of things that we see online, but there certainly are images that have come out, videos that have come out, things that have happened that were at best inconclusive. I shouldn't even say at best, that at worst were inconclusive. At best might have some water, might hold some water. Surely he feels a certain way about that. I think even in Wilder's conduct prior to the first Fury fight, and then the way he's been after, he's come off social media. He used to be very active on social media. It was very important for him. And then it wasn't anymore. Then there were the claims, not only by him, but other people, that Fury had done something, had cheated, had done something to the gloves. And he says he has the evidence for that. I don't know what that evidence is. He seems adamant about it. And I think it's something he's never going to accept. And I think he feels that he was wronged somehow. And I think that was evident in the corner after the fight when Fury went over to congratulate him. He still didn't want to. He didn't want to have anything to do with him. He always felt that he was wronged in that fight, and maybe rightfully so. I don't know. But I can see how that could be painful for Wilder, and if he does have this evidence, then even more to understand why. But I don't know that we know enough about it to make a real strong claim about it either way.
Yeah, look, what's your personal experience of Deontay?
What is my experience of Wilder? It's been twofold. I mean, I've been on the highest end, and some of the greatest times of my boxing career spent with him, to being among the worst, of being let go. So I'd like to think that I played a vital role in his success. I certainly feel like I did. Certainly by his reactions, I did. And I certainly would have liked to have been around for the full ride, especially because of my relationship as well with JD's his trainer and manager, who believed in me and brought me in and gave me a full reign to work with him. And it just wasn't about hand wrapping and working cuts, although that was my official title. My involvement with him, I was brought down and into training camp, and I did a lot of camps with him and dealt with a lot of the sparring partners, and was part of the development and the strategy and the things we were doing. And I think my favorite moment was the winning the title against Stiverne. I mean, that was something where we had been building up to that point of doing things in a certain way, kind of reconstructing Deontay and refining and polishing the diamond in the rough that he was. And I think it all came together on that night. And I'm not quite sure if he ever duplicated that night again, but that night was pretty perfect for me. And I was very proud of the work we did, because us in camp, we saw the transition, and that came to fruition on that night against Bermane Stiverne.
For me, this fight's like perfect for Wilder. I mean, Chisora's always coming forward, perhaps not having the fastest of hands or the most nimblest of feet. He's kind of just there to be hit. Would you agree that this suits Wilder more than it does Chisora?
Well, I don't think any fight suits Chisora. I think Chisora has to make a fight of anyone that he has. I think, you could say that someone who stays there suits Chisora, and he does. Chisora is going to have to watch that right hand. You're not wrong, Neil, when you say that. I mean, Chisora comes and he wants to bring it to you, and he takes risks and he takes chances, and that's something you're going to have to be very, very key. He's going to have to be very, very careful about against somebody like Wilder, who is still going to be looking to unleash, that right hand. And that's his go-to. That's almost Deontay's reflex, is to go to that right hand. And he's proven that he can be dangerous late in the fight as well. And he can be dangerous even when behind on points. Case in point, the two fights with Luis Ortiz, in which he was losing quite badly before scoring a knockout, and a devastating one-punch knockout at that. So, it certainly is what's going to make this fight exciting and have people on the edge of their seat, because we always know that Derek comes into the ring to give you action for every minute of every round, and he leaves everything in the ring. And Wilder has always done the same as well. Like, he's come out, guns a-blazing in every fight, even the ones he's lost. So, I mean, how are people not going to love this fight? It's crazy.
It's going to be a great one for sure. What is your prediction then, Russ?
Look, I'm working with Chisora. So, I'm always with my guy for sure. And I'll do my best, to make sure that he gets the win and protect him in any way we can. And I know what Chisora brings to the table. And if he brings what he can, then I think, and the fight goes late, I think this could be problematic for Wilder. The same way, though, that, if Chisora's reckless and thinking that, you know what, I'm a big guy, I'm a tough guy, I can take this shot, and doesn't, he's going to learn early that this power is something very special. And something else that's very important that doesn't transcend well on video is Wilder's speed. Wilder's explosiveness it doesn't transcend well on video. When you're in the ring, though, first of all, he's not a big guy in terms of structure. He's only, at his best, 220, good. He's quick, and there's that explosiveness in that right hand, and Chisora has to be careful of that. So my prediction is I'm with my guy, and that's as far as I'll be ready to predict, because I like my guy. I like his chances, and I'm going to work for my guy. So I can't give you. I'll be lying if I gave you a prediction other than my guy. So I'm absolutely going with Derek Chisora because he's my guy.